Hey, hi, welcome. I'm Alex from Live Loopers. Been doing Live Loopers for a while now, and today I am going to share with you some of the very best resources that I've stumbled across in my loop promoting travels. Okay, so you're making some music into some loop devices. You're hopefully happy with the results you're getting, and now you'd like to share what you made with more and more people. You'd like to expand your fan base, and you'd like to get some more ears listening to what it is you do. Of course you do. And maybe you've been at it a while and you have a little bit of a fan base. If you do, that certainly helps. If not, that could be overcome. The first and maybe the most important thing that I feel I should say, I will just put it right up front and get it right out of the way. In most cases, in the vast majority of cases, uh, other musicians are not your target audience. So maybe you don't want to spend all of your barking energy barking up that tree. Because I go lots of places, and from place to place to place, I see lots of places where it has just evolved into a whole ton of musicians shouting, "Look at me, look at me, look at me, and look what I made." And they're just shouting at other people who are shouting, "Look at me, look at me, look at me." And none of them are looking at each other or taking any time to, look, support or offer any constructive criticism. Right? It's just all it is just one after the other of just people dropping off links to a video. "Look at me, look at me, look at me." What's that supposed to do? But that having been said, I could point you to one very notable exception where it's kind of, the opposite rules apply. There is a supportive culture that has grown up, and it is around the subset of looping, which is called vocal looping, and it is mostly because there is a beautiful place, which is called Swiss Beatbox, and events like the Grand Beatbox Battles and stuff, where they have built up, where they have carefully over time just built and built and built a culture of support. So now there can be lots of really big name vocal loopers who have huge followings, and people who have small followings can much more easily develop their followings. If you're trying to start a fire, it sort of helps to have some kindling. There are basically two main ecosystems that you want to think about. There's like a Facebook kind of an ecosystem, and there's a YouTube, Google kind of an ecosystem, and there's a ton of smaller ones, TikTok and Twitch. Like, I call Twitch smaller. A lot of people would disagree with whether that's really, but anyway, there are other lower tier ones, but most people are trying to crack into Facebook because that's where the people are, or YouTube, Google, because that's where the search traffic is. And so those are great places to start if you're trying to build a social media following. For the sake of full disclosure, I will say right off the bat that I don't have such a huge love for the Facebook ecosystem, and I do have a really big love for the YouTube, Google ecosystem. So if it sounds like I'm biased, that's just because I'm biased. So sue me. I admit I'm a bias. But really, there's no reason to choose one or the other, really, in trying to develop following. You are supposed to pursue both paths, and so I will do my best to let you know what are the resources that you need for the Facebookiness and for the YouTubiness. Wax on, wax off, Daniel-san. What am I? Okay, let's do it. Let's talk about Facebook. First resource I am going to mention in terms of Facebook is Looper's Delight. Now, again, this is not because you should show up at Looper's Delight looking to make all of the other loop artists your fans. That's not likely to work. Looper's Delight has been an awesome information sharing place for loop-minded individuals for decades, back since it was like a listserv email list. There are people who know about audio and good video and stage presence and performance. It's a good place to go to make friends, to ask, what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? Get some advice. Sometimes you just want to go where everybody knows your name. So, get in there, start chatting, let people know who you are, what you do, what you're about, how you loop, why you loop, that kind of thing. It's a great resource. Next, I will mention a Facebook group called Live Looping Performances. It is mostly a place where people go to just show videos of their own performances. And sometimes that, as I say, devolves into just a whole bunch of look at me. But what you can do is you can go there and you can find lots of examples of other people looping and see which ones appeal to you, which ones encourage you to want to click on and see what they're doing. How did they title it in such a way that piqued your interest? It's a great place to go and do research. One thing about Facebook groups is if a Facebook group is leaking too much traffic to YouTube, if you have a Facebook group and all the people on the Facebook group just want to plug in YouTube videos and try to get people to go, then Facebook, they don't show it to as many people. It does sort of punish you if you are leaking a whole lot of traffic off of Facebook. So you want to consider either figuring out a strategy where if Facebook is your goal and you want to get a lot of Facebook followers or people watching it, you should try to make native Facebook videos and post them on Facebook. And also, Facebook owns Instagram, so Facebook does not mind you pushing traffic back and forth from Instagram, Facebook back and forth, but anything off of Facebook properties, they don't like it so much. And a lot of people say, oh, hey, man, you know what? Facebook, getting views on Facebook with a native Facebook video is much easier than getting views on a YouTube video anyway, but it's not apples to apples. That's apples and oranges comparison. Facebook will count things as a view so much easier, and YouTube will discount everything as a view. Anyway, yes, Looper's Delight. Live looping performances, then I would say live loopers on Facebook. We have a page, and then beyond that, there are all kinds of subgroups and sub-interests, and that is probably where you're likely to actually find your fans, like the people who want to come and watch you. It's by having something other than just looping. If you have some kind of niche, some kind of type of music, a genre, going to the Facebook groups for those and like making introductions and finding people who are not musicians, who would love to watch musicians. Those are your potential fans. Those are the people who could be around for years and years watching your video, providing you that kindling. And then whatever it is that you use to loop on probably has some good Facebook groups. I like looping on iPads, and there's a Facebook group called iPad Musician, which is a great place to go and get lots of knowledgeable folks helping you to, solve problems or give you advice. And there's definitely some really great RC505 groups on Facebook for people who go that route. There are, whatever you loop on, there's probably something somewhere on Facebook that can help you, advise you, get to know you. Resources. I would like to just pause for a quick second to talk a little bit about the hashtags. Hashtags work on Facebook, on YouTube. A lot of people are aware of the fact they started on Twitter. They work across a lot of they're basically like a hyperlink on a web page. Uh, they get underlined, and anybody who is interested in that particular topic can just click it and then go to read out a list of that topic. And here on Live Loopers, we have worked for years trying to start a trend of people using hashtag Live Loop Original and hashtag Live Loop Cover. And that is a way for people interested in covers to be able to look up lots of covers, and people interested in original music to look up lots of original music. We were never intending it for just to be something that only we use. We're putting it out there for everybody. Feel free to use it if you're interested. Live Loop Cover, Live Loop Original. They're not really a thing yet, but they could become a thing if we make them a thing. Now, YouTube, Google. Google is the largest search engine in the world, and YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world, and they're both owned by Google. So together it's kind of like a really, you get the point that it's a very large search engine. And search engines can be like magic for developing a following. If there is, let me give you an example, and this could be the most important thing I say all video, but let's say there is a search term and it's new and it's hot, it's a new thing, and everybody's all of a sudden looking for it, and nobody has a good video for it that satisfies that search. YouTube, of course, will try to throw something at it, but if it's throwing, videos that aren't really what people are looking for, there's the opportunity to satisfy that search. If you are the first to YouTube, the first person with a video up there that is actually satisfying that search and giving people who are searching for it what they want, you have the potential for a video to take off, depending on how seriously people are searching for it. And even sometimes, if there's not a ton of search traffic for something, but if there's a search term, there's a thing that people are looking for, even if it's just a little bit of people looking for it, and there's nothing there that's really doing it for that search term, and you put in a video that does really do it, over time a video can just take off and really pull a lot of people to your channel, at which point they might take a look around and see what else you have. Now, the things that I was saying before about Facebook not really liking for you to take traffic over to YouTube, social media platforms. The platforms themselves don't want you to take eyeballs off of them and what they're doing on their platform, and the user base that is on there doesn't really so much want to people who are on Twitter because they like being on Twitter. People who are on Facebook because they like being on Facebook, and so a lot of times if you're trying to crack into YouTube, you should keep in mind that people who are already on YouTube are much more likely to hang around on YouTube if you give them something really entertaining and cool and fun to look at. So, one really awesome resource for developing a YouTube following is other YouTube channels of other people who do music similar to what you do. I will tell you that nowadays on YouTube, YouTube gives you the ability to hide users. It's sort of like a shadow ban. It's like you'll be there on a channel talking and thinking that you're saying something that people can see, and nobody can see it because they've hidden you, which is basically just me cautioning you, don't make a pest of yourself. Don't go to another musician's channel and just be like, hey, stop looking at this guy, come look at me, because first of all, why would you do that? You don't want people doing that to you. Don't do that to other people. If you become a regular and you're one of the familiar faces, then maybe people wouldn't mind so much. You have to have enough common sense to know whether you're being just a jerk or whether you've contributed to a place enough so that people wouldn't really mind saying, hey, you know, I do some similar kind of music, and maybe if some people wouldn't mind checking me out. You know, just don't be a jerk. Be a good person. Give before you try to grab, you know? Give before you grab. And that brings me to probably the final resource that I will talk about, because it is very important to give before you grab, over on the place which they call Reddit. Reddit is a very different kind of a social media platform, whereas lots of other social media platforms are geared towards, you know, just making it hard for you to get people off of there and onto YouTube. Reddit, like, I view it in a lot of ways. There are a lot of subreddits on Reddit, uh, where it is kind of like a YouTube companion. You know, it's built for discovery of new things, including new YouTube videos. It is actually a collection of, you know, thousands, tens of thousands, I have no clue how many subreddits, and each of those subreddits was created by a person or a small group of people, and they all have their own different rules. You can usually find their rules along the sidebar. They all have their own different culture and sensibility. Some of them really, really, really don't want you coming in there spamming with your look at me links to YouTube, but many of them really do. And I wouldn't be mentioning it except for the fact that I have seen the magic of Reddit. I have seen people who really know how to get some results out of Reddit, and you know, just over time, little by little, people going into different subreddit communities, different interest groups, becoming one of the regulars, the known names, and then saying, you know, this is what I do, what I'm about, come check me out. I've seen it work, so that's why I'm telling you. And now this is the actual last resource that I will mention. This is the most important thing. I know I've said other things were the most important things. Those things weren't the most important. This is the most important thing. The most important resource, the very most important resource you have in developing a following, that you could ever possibly have in developing a following, is having a good product. Having music that is interesting, engaging. If you have a product that is engaging and interesting, you know, they say in marketing, you know, it almost sells itself. So, well, yes, it is awesome to be on the social media, checking out, doing some market research, or watching other people. You also need to keep in mind that you need to practice, 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 practice your craft, get better at doing whatever it is you do. You need to think of what it is that you need in your act. What do you need to add that makes it more interesting, more engaging? Maybe you need to work on, you know, how do I get more comfortable on camera? How do I get to make it so that I'm having more of a good time and enjoying myself while I'm playing music, so that it will be fun for me and the audience will say, hey, this is a fun, awesome person, and share your stuff, because people sharing your stuff and word of mouth, that's where the magic really unleashes on social media. So I'm going to leave it there. My rap name is Alex, and this is Live Loopers. I hope this has been helpful for you. Please check out other stuff on the Live Loopers channel while you're here, and loop on. Loop on. Loop on. Keep on looping is what that means.